Greetings all, welcome to Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, I wanted to talk about what kind of firearms are best for a very extreme cold and wet climate like we have here in Alaska. Now, I have had firearms with the firing pin, even on a bolt action rifle, freeze in very cold weather. Now, after I go through my top three, we're also going to talk about what kind of lubrication is best in extreme cold, and I get asked that a lot. So let's just start from the very top. Number three, I am going to say, is a good stainless steel revolver. Preferably Ruger is the toughest, I feel. Stainless steel Ruger, big bore revolver, any of their Super Red Hawk line. I happen to prefer the Super Red Hawk Toklat in 454 Casull. I feel that this is the best pistol for Alaska, and a lot of people agree with me, and this is a very highly sought after pistol up here. It's kind of hard to find, once again, even though Ruger is slowly putting them out through Lipsy. But that's what I have to say. Now, we will talk about the lube, because even these need to be lubed up. And of course, in a wet, cold climate, you always want to wipe your firearms down frequently and put protectant on them. So number three is going to be a Ruger stainless revolver. No question, one of the best firearms you can have up here that is going to resist rust more than other firearms. Number two is going to be possibly a Glock. I think Glocks do well up here if you wipe them down frequently. Now, the previous generations had that Tenifer, which is actually really good against the elements. It wears very well, but Gen 5 now has that NDLC coating even better. They up the ante. But what is way better than Glocks, and in every way I've always said HK is better than Glock. This is my HK USP. Now, you have to realize that the HK USP line is much different in some ways than the HK45 line, and this has a better coating than the HK45s, which have a decent coating as well. But the HK USP line comes directly from the Mark 23 models, and it's got the special coating everywhere to help resist salt water, the elements. And what's amazing about this, the HE coating, hostile environment, it's inside the stainless steel itself before they even put the black finish on. So an HK, I think, is one of the best semi-autos, especially firearms you can have in Alaska, just because the coating is so durable against the elements. So that's what I'm going to say for number two. Number one, I'm going to have to say a Marlin Stainless 4570 lever gun, your classic lever gun. The Hunter Trapper is my all-time favorite. I am going to check out one of the new Dark series pretty soon. Pretty excited about that. But something in stainless is going to resist the elements. Sometimes people even put turtle wax on the outside of their gun and finish it off with a heat gun, and you actually get a finish that water just beads right off. It's pretty amazing if you do it right. So that's my number one. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. I tend to find AKs in this harsh environment are much better than AR-15. That's just what I found. I personally am almost leaning towards AK-47 for a truck/survival weapon than an AR-15, because I've had some serious problems with AR-15s up here, whereas AKs are just solid and they're meant to be worked in very hostile conditions, from very hot to very cold. So that's what I have to say about that. As far as lubricant to use, now people ask me this a lot. I like oil-based. You always want to go with oil-based. I like Lucas gun oil. They put a couple different variations of that, but I have found that even in, negative 20, 30, I don't think I've shot in colder than maybe 24 degrees below zero anytime recently, but that was just this last winter, and this Lucas oil really did the job. It didn't bind up on me. Once me and Chuck were out shooting, I had a stainless Smith & Wesson 500 Smith & Wesson revolver, and I had it just coated in Frog Lube CLP, and this surprised me because, as you know, the military used the break-free CLP, but I had it coated in Frog Lube, and it was completely frozen shut, and it was like, I forgot, it was like 12 degrees out. Me and Chuck were out there shooting, and we had to kind of warm it up, and eventually we got it to work, but that revolver had closed shut. So the military, at least in the past, has used this break-free CLP, and they've used a couple other things. You can even use motor oil. I've used synthetic motor oil on an AR-10 before, and it worked well. But comment down in the comments what you guys think works, and just remember, even if you have a good lubricant, if you're not constantly wiping it down and updating that lubricant, it can gum up with all kinds of lint and stuff, and that will make it freeze, and that stuff will freeze on it, and you will have a malfunction. So you got to keep up with your wiping down, maintaining of the firearm, but I tend to feel that Lucas Oil does the best trick for me. So sound off in the comments what you guys think. I'm going to have a pretty good video up tomorrow morning on the Glock 20 Gen 4 versus Gen 5 test we recently did. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, look, get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10mm. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you all die every time, guaranteed.